All right, welcome to another episode of the Freezin for NFC North Podcast, episode number 18, NFC North free agent and 2022 draft coverage. And actually, we are back after a few weeks taking a break, and I am joined by all guests this week. And I'm excited. First of all, we'll just go ahead and we have to start. Unfortunately, we have to start with our Packers guest. Welcome, Tailgate. You have several podcasts, and a welcome.
Thank you. Not unfortunately, I'm a little offended, but that's okay. No, I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And we'll move on to the Vikings representative this week. Viking Dave, how are you doing?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk, football.
NFC North, always stuff to talk about. And eventually, I think the Lions are going to be relevant, right? Seventh letter?
That's how we giving it up.
That's right. Hold no punches here.
Nah, we'll be all right. We'll be all right. We beat the Packers in the Vikings last year, so And
that's not saying much.
We'll be all right. We'll be better this year. I'm excited. I hope you enjoy, Hard Knocks and all that.
That's going to be an interesting one when you have the coach that has some, sound bites and it actually gives you more than milquetoast answers. You got to love it.
Yeah, that was Detroit Lions Day. Remember we did that? It was
like
one of the best. I'm just at work like, what the fuck? What? We on Hard Knocks? And we having a draft? Oh, man. It's going crazy, man, in Detroit right now. For real. But we'll be all right, man. We got the right coach. I believe in him. I don't think he'll show you how competent he is. I think that people think that he's just a, like a juice head or whatever, a coffee head or whatever, a coke head, because he But I think it's something in there. I think we got something. I do, especially the way they coached those corners last year. So I think we got the right staff, right? Finally.
Well, speaking about this, and we didn't really kind of talk about it, but I'd love to go where the conversation goes. When we talk about the NFC North, where are we on coaches as far as like ranking them? I'm going to start with you, Kate. What do you think? Who do you think the best coach is in the division?
Well, I think it's hard, right? Because we have a bunch of new coaches. Like LaFleur is the most tenured coach at 3 seasons. So when you have a coach that's gone 3 seasons at 13-3 and then 13-4, and he's really the only one that's been around for a long time, it's hard to even say. My bias says that he is the best, but it's also, we don't have any kind of data. We have 1 season for the Lions, which I agree. I actually think he's going to be great. I think a lot of the issues with the Lions kind of was a morale issue. And so I think he's going to take some time and turn that around, which is great. I don't know anything about the Bears coach.
I don't really either. So
I know that a lot of people have a lot of faith in him, which is great. I think that's awesome for Bears fans. They have Fields that I like Fields. I'll probably get in trouble for saying that, but that's okay. I like him. I think that he can be good.
Can you say that again, please, for everybody?
No. So I think if the right coach gets paired with him, I think he could be really good. They seem to be making some off-season moves that proves if he has any say in any of that, then he is proven his competency. I don't know anything about the new Vikings coach either, so it's hard to say. I think LaFleur is, but that's only because we have data.
Yeah, and it is. We have the data, but it'll be interesting to see. I mean, eventually, you're going to get, without Aaron Rodgers. Is he a good coach or is it Aaron Rodgers?
See, I think he's a good coach. I know it's my bias, but I do think he's a good coach, and I think that a lot of that has to do with the attitude that we saw when we didn't know what Rodgers was doing. Like I said about the Lions coach, I think half your battle is going to be morale when you're a head coach, and those guys were still ready to play, whether Aaron showed up or not. So I think that's half the battle with him, and I think he'll still be great.
Well, yeah, and when you look at the Lions, I mean, they really like, playing for the coach there. I mean, I think that's important.
Mm-hmm.
It was really interesting, and we said this on our pod back in Thanksgiving, that it was weird that Matt Nagy outcoached him, and you don't usually say that. With the 2 timeouts, not knowing penalty, but he really turned it around, didn't he? Seventh letter.
Yeah, well, I gave him an excuse for that one. It was our whole secondary was depleted. We had a whole bunch of rookies and first year players back there, and Will Harris. So it was like, Aaron Glenn was like, yo, you know what I'm saying? So it was kind of a mistake. It was a learning experience. Like, this is his first year as a coach. So, same thing happened with Schwartz a couple of Thanksgivings before that, when he threw the flag on a replay or whatever, when the knee was down against the Texans. So it's all kind of little nuances in coaching that, things that don't happen very often, so it was a mistake. And that was his first week, I think, that he or one of the earlier weeks when he took over offensive coordinating and all that. So It was just a lot on his plate that week. I'm glad we finally found one that he likes. It didn't work out with the other guy. I can't remember his name, but he'll be all right. He'll be all right. I'm with him. The thing about Dan Campbell is he gets it, and I just feel like he. You ever see us when we win? You see, he looked like he.
I don't think anybody's seen that, have they?
Yeah, but I'll bring some tape next time. He's breathing
from like Barry Sanders.
Like he played in the game. He's so he gets it. Michigan you know what I'm saying? That's why we love him. That's why we love him. Coach Caldwell was a good coach for us, but he was too smart. You know what I'm saying? He just talked above people's heads. Campbell is both. He's both to me.
He's an ex-player, so he's got that in his background too.
Right, and all.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah, he's tough. I like him, man. I really like him a lot. I really, really, really like that guy.
Well, speaking of liking an offensive coach, where are you at, Viking Dave, on Vikings new coach?
I would just talk about player. He's a former player. Obviously, he was a backup quarterback. But it's funny that you messaged me to come on today, and I was actually listening to Kevin O'Connell's press conference from yesterday. I mean, again, we have nothing to go on. We just she said, obviously LaFleur right now is the guy, because there's really no other evidence. But when I listen to Kevin O'Connell talk, I really like it. He sounds smart. Like, I want a smart coach. I'm excited to have an offensive guy, with all the weapons that we have in general. I mean, we got Jefferson, you got Thielen, you got Cook. Like, I can't wait to see what this is going to look like. We've been dealing with Zimmer, and, he wants to ground and pound every week, for the last 8 years. And just like when I was on your show, like, I'm not going to badmouth Zimmer, but like, I'm excited. Like, again, like for the first time, like a really long time, to, see what this offense can do. Like, I mean, you got a superstar with Justin Jefferson. Thielen's, really, really good still. I think Cook, we talked about it again. I think he's one of the top five best running backs in the league. And Kirk Cousins is, whether you hate him, I know a lot of people do, and that's fine. He's accurate and he can throw the ball, and you give him time, like, he's gonna make plays. Like, people hate on him because he's not, Patrick Mahomes, but who is? Like, Josh Allen? You know what I mean? Like, there's not a lot of those guys. So when Cousins has time to throw, like, he makes these throws. Like, so I'm excited to see him and see the new offense. And apparently Jefferson's going to be the new Cooper Kupp, and I'm excited. I mean, that excites me. Like, I get it. I like these guys. So, like I said, I like the way he talks. He sounds smart. He seems to know what he's doing. He comes from, the Rams. They just won the Super Bowl, so he's got that pedigree. Like, he seems to know what he's doing. Obviously, only time will tell, and wins and losses are going to add up. We'll see what happens, but I'm excited to see what's going to happen this season and forward.
Yeah, and as a Bears fan, I'm very realistic. I think the Bears, I'm not really sold on Eberflus yet. I like that he.
What's his name?
I'll be honest, I
Eberflus.
didn't know who he was either.
Yes, and it's funny. Chicago sports radio, they say Eberflus. It's really ridiculous. But he did the smart thing. He said, "This is Justin Fields' team. I mean, that's what you need to do, and that's what Matt Nagy never did." And when you look at, I can't even say his name. I don't know if I want to say his name. A certain quarterback from a certain city who may have a few shares of a certain team that I like. I can't remember his name. I'll remember it eventually here. What's his name, Kate?
Does it start with an R? Is that the one we're talking about? We're talking about the same one?
Yeah, I think he wore sweaters, lived in a neighborhood.
Right. His cardigans.
Yeah.
Mr. Rodgers' neighborhood?
Yeah. So we'll see, if he's going to, make his coach or break his coach this year. When you have Devontae Adams, I mean, it's so interesting when you look at coaches. A lot of it's on players, right? It's quarterbacks, and when you look at the Bears, the smart thing is that Eberflus is saying this is Justin Fields' team, and that's probably one of the best things that the Packers did. This is Aaron Rodgers' team, right? And I mean, Kate, were you ready to move on from Rodgers, or what were you thinking kind of when he was trying to make his decision?
I mean, I said it from the beginning, because the last offseason was a mess. But I'm a Packers fan before anything else. So it's not that I was like excited for him to leave or like encouraging him leaving, but I'm very much a Packers fan. So if he left, just tell me who is throwing the ball. Like I'll root for him. I'll want him to do well, whoever it is. I would root for Rodgers to do well as long as he didn't go to one of your guys' 3 teams. I would have been fine. And I feel that way about Devontae Adams too. We won games where he didn't play. So it's possible. He's good. Obviously, he's the best in the league, and him switching teams doesn't change that. And that would have gone for Rodgers too. If he left, he was still the best quarterback in my eyes, no matter where he played. So I wasn't ready to move on per se, but I was okay if I had to.
Yeah. And when you look at, the choice between him or Love, I mean, it's you.
Right.
Yeah.
We all wanted Love.
You know what? I have a feeling y'all would have been sad in a couple of games. Like if he finds his grounding, and I hope he goes somewhere else. Like I hope he really does well. But I think with the offensive line that we had last season too, even though half of them were hurt, the guys that we still had, in front of the quarterback, I think he could have turned out okay. So I don't know.
Is that the homer or is that the realist in you?
I feel like that's a realist. Like of course he did not have a good game in Kansas City, but if you look at the numbers, neither did Mahomes. So that was a weird game all around for everyone. And I think if Love had some time, he's not going to be like great. Of course not. He's not going to be Aaron Rodgers level, but I don't think he would have been bad. And I kind of feel the same way about him as I do about Fields. Like if they can put something good in front of Justin Fields, he's going to be great. And sorry, I'm taking over and talking so much, but I have the same opinion on most quarterbacks. Like Kirk Cousins, I think is not that good. I'm sorry. But the thing that
you're not the only one to say that. It's okay.
Especially not from Vikings fans.
Yeah, I've heard it from my own fans.
I know.
Like 33 touchdowns, like 6 interceptions. That's good.
Dude, like all he does is
is
ball
good.
out.
It is
People
good.
hate him, so it's whatever. Like
I don't
I'm
know
used to it by now.
Say ball out, but the thing.
I mean, 4,000 yards, 33 touchdowns, seven interceptions. What do you want him to do? Throw 0 interceptions?
Win a playoff game. Sorry.
That's
Go
it.
ahead.
That's it.
He beat the Saints in the playoffs when they were the 3rd seed, when they were 13-3.
True.
Like, what's he supposed to go? You go play defense? You want me to go play defense too?
Yeah.
Like, come on now.
No, okay. Here's my thing. You have 32 quarterbacks in the league, right? Starting quarterbacks. They're obviously good quarterbacks because there's 32 of them, and they're playing football in the NFL. So if you give any one of these 32 guys time to throw, like they do Kirk Cousins,
No,
they're
stop
going to.
that.
No, hang on. Hang on.
You must
Love
not be
it.
watching.
Hang on.
No, stop that.
But I'm saying that about Fields too. Like if they can put something in front of him, he's going to be as good as he can be.
Baker Mayfield.
And
Oh,
yes, I still think so.
I see him with no pressure, miss wide open guys down the field.
Mhm.
Don't tell me anybody can do this job because they can't. I've seen some
I
bad
didn't say
quarterbacks.
anybody. I didn't say anybody.
All I'm saying when I'm talking about Cousins is he's not Mahomes, he's not Rodgers, he's not Brady. But after the top tier, he's in that 10 to 12 range because I don't think you can name 10 guys that are for sure better than him. And I'm not saying guys that you would take over him, young guys like, that are young that
Probably
you
more
want to build
talented,
around,
but
like
not
maybe like a Justin Fields, who I don't think is better than him, but he may be in the future.
In the future.
I'm talking
I
about
know what
right
you're saying.
now.
I know what you're saying.
I think he's a top 10 to 12 guy, and he can make plays. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
And people hate on that guy like he's trash. He is not trash.
No, he ain't trash.
But if he's number 12, he's already halfway down the league. Like that's not great.
That's top third. Like that's top
Wow.
33%. Like,
well, and it really depends then, when you look at it, right? Quarterbacks get judged on production and all this, but they also get judged in the clutch, right?
Yes.
We're going to see how good. Okay. I've been on this and Kate, you may not be happy. I really don't know how good Aaron Rodgers is, right? He's proven he can do it in the regular season, but so has Kirk Cousins, right? He beat Caleb Haney to get to his only Super Bowl, right? So we're going to find out how, and this will be interesting. And I guess my question is, will this affect Aaron Rodgers' legacy if he doesn't win this year, if he doesn't make something out of whatever new receivers they have? I mean, will it affect his legacy?
So here's my question to you. Yes, Devontae Adams caught a lot of the touchdowns that were thrown, but how many weren't caught by Adams? A ton of them. So, and he's thrown to people that everyone says are not very good.
Lazard.
Which everyone says he's not very good. He says he doesn't catch anything. Not true.
The Lions. He kills us.
But Adams draws a lot of that attention to get those guys away.
100%. I will agree with that. I totally agree with that. I think that he can make a lot out of whatever we get. I will say that we need more. I like Lazard. I think he's great, but he is not a, wide receiver number one. Definitely not. I love Cobby, but he's not either. So we need more. But I do think if he can't do it with whatever team they put out there, that will definitely affect things. Now, if he gets us to the same spot with whatever team they come up with, that says a lot about him as a quarterback, I think. Even if he doesn't win in the playoffs, which I want him to, obviously, and I think you need to be able to. But if he can do the same level that he did with this year's team next year, that's on him. If he does worse, it's kind of like, man, we'll see. We'll see.
And let's kind of talk about that too. Yeah, the wide receivers, right? Obviously, I'm going to bow out of this one because when you rank the NFC North wide receivers, the Bears are down there. But I don't know right now. Maybe the Bears don't have the worst wide receivers in the league. It's probably the Packers right now. Who has the best wide receivers in the division so far?
Vikings, 100%, 100% Vikings. I'm a huge Jefferson fan.
I love that guy.
The Vikings' third wide receiver.
That's true. That's true. That's true. So that one's easy.
Osgood, whoever that is.
Osborne, yeah, he's pretty good too.
My guy, Smith from Iowa too.
I like your boy though, Amon St. Brown. He's pretty good. He's good.
He's good.
And then Mooney, I'm a big Mooney fan. I like him.
I just don't think he's a number one wide receiver.
No, I agree with that. I think they need to draft somebody, but I still like him. He's a good player.
He's a smaller in the draft. A lot of people are saying, the Bears would, Jahan Dotson, but he's the exact same person as Mooney. He's short, he's quick, so they need a bigger wide receiver. They need someone, and Allen Robinson, it was his time to go. He kind of quit on the team. Great guy, but just not a good fit with Justin Fields. But talk about the wide receivers. I really do like what the Lions have. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Cephas comes back. Are they going to draft one, do you think, seventh letter?
They definitely going to go with we need some speed bad. So I know whoever it is, he's going to be fast. We just were so slow, and we started to play better when we got Reynolds, who's a little, he's got a little bit more speed than everybody else on the team. Cephas is slow. Cephas gets open, though. He's crafty, but he's slow. Him and Amon-Ra St. Brown is kind of like the same guy. Amon-Ra is a little bit more put together. Cephas is a little bit more slight. That's why his shoulder went out of place on us.
Mm-hmm.
Charles Rodgers, no shoulders, man. It just reminds me of Charles Rodgers, Rest in peace, Charles Rodgers.
And the Packers have to go wide receiver in the draft, don't they, Kate?
Which means they won't. But yeah, they won't. We're getting another kicker.
Scaring me right now. Sorry to interrupt. You know what's scaring me right now? That Deebo Samuels wants to get traded. And I am afraid that Aaron Rodgers get that. Now,
I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that.
No,
I'm not gonna lie. I don't want to see that.
I am afraid. They got some.
I've heard DK too, though. To be honest, too.
Oh, so that'll be another one. But DK, all right. Yeah, you can have DK. That's kind of like the same. You know what I mean? He run past you, and he's not a better route runner than Adams. That was Adams.
No,
Adams was open.
Yeah.
That was his superpower. It doesn't matter.
DK is just a monster, and he'll just blow by you. Yeah.
He will, but he drops the ball a lot. So
yeah,
for sure. Get cold in Green Bay.
Yeah.
Deebo.
Yeah. He's a playmaker. I like those guys.
Yeah.
And if they sign Deebo too, and obviously they would sign him to a longer term deal, he would be there, after Rodgers, which would be smart because you have him to whatever young quarterback is going to be after Rodgers.
Yeah.
That would be smart.
I hope not. I hope the 49ers keep that pride and keep him the fuck away from Green Bay.
I agree with that.
He's actually one of the first that I am on board with. Last year we had all the OBJ rumors and things like that, and lots of rumors with big guys, big names, coming out there. And I think Deebo's one of the only ones that I'm fully on board. I would be ready to roll. Usually I'm just I would rather grow him in Green Bay kind of girl, just because it's proven to be successful. It's pretty rare that the Packers get big names, and I think some of that's by choice. So I'm usually not on board with it, but Deebo I could handle. I would love it.
No, I know you would.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want him on my team because I think I just don't think we're there yet. I would prefer we just build first.
Draft somebody.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't mind him being paired with Justin Fields, but I don't think the Bears are there. There's so many, things, and you don't want to give a big contract when you're not ready. You got to have all the other pieces first. I agree.
Yeah. Not yet. That's going to be on my mind tonight.
Well, speaking on always on my mind, this might be a little bit closer. So when you look at the NFC North running backs, who has the overall best running backs in the division?
Oh man,
that's close.
I'm taking my guy every day of the week. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say I'm still gonna go with Jones. I'm still gonna stick with them.
Nasty, yo. Cook's David, he just nasty, yo.
I think Cook's a better all-around player, but I really like Aaron Jones. But I think what Cook can do, and not that Aaron Jones can't because he's really, really good.
He's fast.
I just think Cook's a better all-around player, slightly. Now I'm saying he's way better, but I'm taking my guy every single day of the week, and like I said, I'll put him up there with anybody.
What about those weeks he's injured?
You got to deal with that, but you got Madison back there. You missed 2 or 3 games. We're okay with Madison. Our 1-2. And Green Bay's got a great 1-2 too.
I was just gonna say, when you look at the 1-2s together instead of just the ones, that's a different conversation. Because when you're looking at Dillon and Jones, and you look at their numbers from last season, it's every other game they flip flopped. Who's doing more? One guy takes all the yards and less touchdowns. The other guy takes all the yards the next week, and it's a wild team. But I don't know. Vikings have a good one too.
If Dylan hadn't gotten hurt, do you think the Packers would have won that game?
Oh, yes, 100%. Yes.
Yeah.
And it's heartbreaking.
I like my running backs.
I like Swift.
I
like Swift.
I like your running back too.
I like
Jamal.
I like Craig Reynolds.
Just as a person.
I'm a fan of Craig Reynolds.
Craig Reynolds, and he came off he was on the practice squad.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But I like Swift. Swift can't really stay healthy, but Swift is a problem. He'll be the only threat we have on our offense. Period.
Yeah, he's a playmaker. I think David Montgomery is a little bit underrated. Mm-hmm. I think he's a solid player. I don't think he's great at anything really, but he's very good and he gets the job done. Like he's done very well.
Yeah, I like Mike Montgomery. Herbert came in and did well, but he's just not at Montgomery's level.
Yeah, Montgomery stepped up. He's good now. In the beginning, he was a little shaky, but
yeah, he's a solid player.
Yeah, he's
all of our teams got some good running backs.
So if we
pretty well off.
If we put because of maybe the Vikings number 1, Packers number 2, who's number 3 between the Bears and the Lions?
All right, so let me do this real quick.
Yeah.
All right. My whole offensive line got hurt this year.
Mm-hmm.
Last year. This year, they're back. We get Big Ragnar back. We get Taylor Decker back. We got Penei Sewell on the other side.
We got to get off the line.
Let's revisit this in about 8 months. Let's revisit this and all that because there was, we had, we switched the safety to running back. He had like a 70-yard touchdown. Like anybody could run with offensive line. So, and I think Aaron Jones, he's fast, and just Aaron Rodgers so slick in the pocket where. It's like when you know how Peyton Manning kind of always had a running game. Like just because Peyton Manning's so cerebral and we just trying to think like him. Like everybody worried. The Packers always have a running game somehow. I don't know how. The offensive line don't be that good.
It's because everyone's worried about Rodgers. That's
right.
Like,
so that's
I see what you're saying. Yeah,
right there in the nutshell. He's fast. He just outrun you. He get a little gash, him, he's gone. You know.
Yeah, he's a good player.
He's good. He's fast.
It's going to be interesting this year. Whoever ends up at the wide receiver position for the Packers, it's going to be, someone young, probably, whatever, not the caliber that Devontae Adams is. So it'll be interesting to see if the running backs are affected. Obviously you have 2, quality running backs or the running game, but if you don't have a passing game, if you don't have wide receivers that can stretch the defense, that could, really affect the running backs.
What if Sammy can still
run?
I think,
Sammy Watkins is still fast.
Oh, come on.
Is he?
Listen, I'm a fantasy guy. Sammy Watkins has been not good for years and years and years. When I heard that they signed him, I was like, oh, he'll be hurt by week 3. That's good.
He can't stand the cold.
Dude, this is a fancy because me and my buddy that I have the other podcast with, he's been on Sammy Watkins. He'll have didn't he have a game against the Chiefs like a year or 2 ago where week 1 he had like 200 yards.
Yes,
he didn't do shit the rest of the year. Dude, he's gonna have one big game this year for sure, and then he won't do nothing else. So that's just the thing between me and my guys, but about Watkins.
Yeah, I'm not excited. I mean, I'm excited if he plays. Like, from what I've seen, he's great when he's on the field, but he's never on the field. And there are a lot of guys in the league that I feel that way about. People really wanted Brian Bulaga back, and I said, hell no. Like, yeah, he's awesome. He's so good when he plays football, but he never freaking plays football.
You always say.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, I'm going to give it to you that the Bears are probably the bottom of the rankings because of the line, and that is a huge or huge question mark. We'll see what they do in the draft if they take a tackle. That may help. You can have a talented running back, but if you don't have a line, you're just kind of dead in the water.
It's true.
So speaking of dead in the water, and for
last.
No, we might be last. We might be last.
NFC North defensive rankings, and this could be
Everybody
important this year.
now. Yeah.
For some reason, I don't know if it was a surprise to you, Kate, but the Packers actually had a good defense. I mean, were you pretty surprised then?
I was super surprised because a lot of our defense was hurt most of the year. So we're playing with backup guys and, a bunch of rookies out there, and they're still killing it, and they're still on the team. So I think that's great. I'm excited about it. Z's gone.
I like that.
Me too.
Yeah, that was whack.
Really? Wasn't Z the leader though? I feel like he was the one that was.
No, he wanted to be, and that's why he was not great for the team. I don't think. You never know because we're not in the locker room. We don't know. But he threw a big hissy fit that was pretty public at the beginning of last year, and so then he didn't play because he got hurt. So I wasn't sad about seeing him go. He did nothing for me personally as far as gameplay, as far as team morale, nothing. So I'm excited to see him in Minnesota. We'll see how it goes. But I am a big fan of our defense this year. Stokes is incredible. He was probably my favorite pick out of the draft last season. And I think he proved himself quickly.
That's the tall corner, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was good.
Yep. And so I'm excited for our defense. I was shocked that our second string dudes could hold on for that entire season.
Is Rasul Douglas, is he going to be a thing, or is it just kind of a flash in the pan?
I don't know. I think between Douglas and Campbell, I was more wanting to make sure that Campbell stayed. I think he will definitely still be same caliber. I hope Douglas is. I like him a lot. I think obviously he did work for us. And I hope it wasn't a one-time thing. I think he grinds and hopefully that pays off.
Absolutely. And so you look at some of the other defenses, the Vikings, they've been known for defense in the past. But Dave, not so much now.
Not the last 2 years. They were bad, man. I don't know what's going on with Z in Green Bay, but I know he was killing us whenever we played him the last couple of years. So he has getting 14 sacks a year. Listen, he's excited to play with Daniele Hunter. I am excited to see that duo. If he's healthy, obviously both of them. That's going to be a good duo. We got a whole new defense. We don't have, Zimmer's gone. So we got, new defensive coordinator, new players. We need a corner, which is what I think we'll draft high in the draft, probably most likely if one of those top guys is there. But we still have some holes there. So I'm hopeful, that they can be, just not terrible like they were the last couple of years. That's really what we're hoping for. We're hoping to have a really good offense and a serviceable defense, and that's been a pretty decent duo for some other teams in the past. So we'll see what happens.
I think, Dave, you would be fantastic in the locker room and just kind of say, hey, guys, just go out there and not be terrible.
Just don't be terrible. That's what I'm saying.
Just don't suck, please.
Make a stop every now and then. Like the other night, they had on NFL Network, the game we had against Dallas, where we gave up Cooper Rush touchdown with a minute left. And then they had another game on where we played against somebody and we gave up a late touchdown. It's like, the Detroit game. They had the Lions game. Yeah, where our corner standing 8 yards in the end zone. He's got that white line is the goal line, right? Like,
I was looking at that shit like, we about to win.
Bro, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's just common sense.
We about to win.
There's so many games that we were right there in that, if the defense just made, that's two games right there where we lost either on the last play or, in the last minute. And there was many others that, if the defense could make a play just, a couple times, then we would have been in the playoffs. So we made a few moves, nothing major. Smith is a big one, a couple other guys in the draft, hopefully we'll bring some more. But like I said, I'm hopeful that if they can just be middle of the pack, like at this point, after the last couple of years, I'll be happy with that. And let's just see what happens.
Yeah. And seventh letter, they have to do like a defense. The Lions do, right? With their number 2 pick.
Yeah, we need a pass rush badly.
Yeah,
we need a pass rush. It's
Which one though? There's a couple that I'm hearing about. I see that new Walker's moving up the boards quick.
I don't want him.
Really?
I want somebody that can contribute. So I mean, I love Dan Campbell now, but I don't really have a lot of time. You know what I'm saying? Like I need to be trying to get into the playoffs next season. You know what I mean? Like I need to like be looking like, like we're playing, like we're in games. You know what I mean? Not like with a chance to win them. Like
I feel like the Lions, they could change their logo to like that hourglass where you just kind of flip over and start again, and then let it go, and then
right. Now,
I had to give you a hard time.
We had our little flashes. We get good, a little bit good for a little while, not like division champion good, because the Packers been good for a long time. And then when the Packers kind of fall off, then the Vikings get really good, and then we gotta, so I don't know. The division has always been rather, even when it was the NFC Central, it was always rather, competitive. Like Sterling Sharp was there, and with Brett Favre. So the Packers been good for 30 years.
Because of them quarterbacks. Wait till them quarterbacks are gone.
They're gonna have their time on the bottom.
It's gonna change.
It's
gonna change.
Can't wait. It's gonna be real for the fake Seahawks fans too.
Exactly.
I will agree with that one.
Man. All the Patriots died last year. That was good.
They did, especially after that Buffalo loss.
Yes.
Well, when you look at the Bears defense, I mean, Roquan Smith, it'll be interesting kind of what they do with him. Secondary is going to be a question mark, So Akeem Hicks is gone. I like, where they're going as far as with the scheme and everything. I trust the defensive coaches, but realistically, the Bears are a year away. I'm going to put the Bears in the bottom because they don't have that number 1 pick. I think if the Lions get like a, Aiden Hutchinson or, someone that's going to make an impact defensively, I think that can really, help them stay in games because they were in a lot of games they shouldn't have been with top teams this year. I mean, the Super Bowl champions, they almost beat them. They almost beat the Ravens. They did beat the Vikings, which was interesting. So I don't know. I mean, I do like the Bears, I did like last year, their special teams. They almost won the Packers game, but then I figured it was probably the best first half of football. And then I'm like, this is not going to happen.
That was such a fun game to be at. It was so fun.
Oh, you were at the first half. How fun was that, though?
It was still fun.
Yeah, you kind of.
It was still fun because I knew.
Yeah, I know.
This isn't going to work out.
Pretty soon, you're not going to know.
Against y'all, like I kind of knew Aaron Rodgers would figure it out. Like they're gonna cheat a little bit for him too. So
the refs always do that to them.
Yeah, they always cheat.
Okay.
All right. Before I leave, I have to say this to another Packers fan. They have cheated for Aaron Rodgers 1,000 times.
Oh, 1,000,000. Oh, you're 100% right.
I will send you my thesis paper on how that's not
100%.
true.
No, it's 100% true.
Yo, do you remember that bomb they always play? The one against us? The play
I'm
before that, there was a shadow face mask. He grabbed him right here. He called a face mask. He was called again.
There's probably 3 other plays on the opposite side where it didn't go our way. Because I keep track of them. If you just go to my Twitter, just search my handle and refs, and you'll find a whole list.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, very nice.
You know what I like, though? I like looking at the refs when Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady play each other. They don't know what.
No, I love that.
Yeah, that's funny. That's funny and true. It's funny because it's true.
I'm telling you.
I know it is.
If you guys could just play football, it would be fine. You might win a couple games.
Here we go.
Well, speaking of playing football, who do we have as the winner of the division this year? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start with you, seventh letter. Who do you have winning the division this year?
Well, if the Vikings offense is explosive, the Vikings, because they're going to come over here with that Ram shit with all them weapons.
I'm hyped about it. I'm not gonna lie.
That
I
might
am.
be a little scary. You know what I'm saying? It might be a little scary. So if that works out, the Rams, I mean the Vikings. But if Aaron Rodgers, if the Packers kind of ground and pound and keep games close, the Packers could win. I mean, they got the best quarterback in the league. They got one of the top, Aaron Rodgers, one of the best players in the league. When you got that, you
got a
always
chance.
You know what I'm saying?
Always.
Aaron Rodgers been to the playoffs plenty of times with bad teams, so I can see it. He's won playoff games with bad teams, fought with bad teams. Remember that game against the Cardinals in the playoffs? Like, that team wasn't good.
He won a Super Bowl with a mediocre offense. So
what? That offense is crazy.
No, sir.
This is what
compared to last year's.
He spread that old Steelers team out and just went at him with his weapons. He had Jordy Nelson,
Jennings, right?
Driver. What's the other one? Jones.
James Jones. Yeah.
Dude, they were stacked.
But in terms of where was that offense ranked on the list of offenses in the league?
It's about when you get hot in the playoffs.
True.
It's about when you get hot.
Okay, I'll agree with that. I'll agree with that.
The Cardinals took to the Super Bowl. Saying they just got hot at the right.
They were like 8-8 or 9-7 that year, and they went. You couldn't stop in the playoffs. It was Kurt Warner and Fitzgerald.
Patriots that year, and in 2011, it's just you get hot.
I agree with that.
Them weapons started going on all cylinders. There's nothing you could do when you spreading everybody out. They really blew out the Steelers. That was a blowout. It was over.
Well, speaking of kind of all the weapons, then, Dave, who do you have winning the division this year?
Well, I'll never say anything good about the Packers, so I'm going to say the Vikings. I think it's going to be close. I am cautiously optimistic about the team.
Like a regular Vikings fan, I get it.
Yeah, no, I'm more optimistic than if you go on Twitter. Trust me, there's plenty of haters. And I'm normally for sure, and I want to say yes because again, I'm just not going to say anything good about the Packers. But the Packers are good. They're a good team, and they're gonna, it's gonna, I think, come down to those two teams. I think they're two best. But I'm gonna go with my guys. Let's roll. You know what I mean? Let's roll.
Kate, what's your rebuttal to that?
I mean, that's pretty much my response too. I'm never going to say anything nice about the Vikings, but I will say that you are a more pessimistic Vikings fan than most that I've met, which is nice. It's very refreshing. Nice. That's why I love Lions fans, because they're always like, man, we suck. It's fine. But Bears fans and Vikings fans, it's always their year. They're kind of like Cowboys fans. So it's nice to hear.
Oh my God! I hope not.
That's bad.
I got a lot of bookmarks.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny is I'm honestly one of those guys. I really am. Normally, if I really truly believe this is our year, I'll say it. I don't know if we're Super Bowl caliber, but I think that we're playoff caliber, which is why I say we should compete for the division. Depending on how good Green Bay is, they may be 15-2, and who knows? And we can't compete with that. But I think that there's a chance. There's been seasons in the past where I'm like, we're going to Super Bowl. This is it. And then we'd be, no, but I try to have a pretty good gauge on the team. But that's why I said cautiously optimistic. I feel like we have some pieces. I still want to see what we do in the draft. I think we have, I like the coach. And I think we have a really good offense. And, we should be able to make, be competitive and make some play. And like he was just saying, once you're in the playoffs, just get hot. You get those guys in the playoffs, you can't stop them. We could go. Who's an NFC that you're scared of? The Bucks, probably. The Rams are really good. The Packers are, I don't think. I mean, they're good, but are you terrified of them? No. I said the Bucks and the Rams. That's what I'm saying. You can go on a run easy and make the Super Bowl. You win 2 games.
Well, 49ers are not good, but I'm terrified of them.
Well, there's certain teams that matchups that you hate. You're right.
Definitely, if Debo's gone, you're not scared of him.
That's a big weapon. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
49ers can go on any field in the NFL and win.
That's why they want. If they get the playoffs, you love them. Those are the guys that beat you. They beat you up. So, but I'm saying they're not unbeatable. I'm just saying the NFC isn't stacked like the AFC is. So you get in the playoffs, you get hot, you can go to the Super Bowl. And that's what I'm hoping for. Like, that's all I can hope. No, I'm saying we're going to the Super Bowl with the best team, because I'm not going to say that. But I think the Bucks are your top two. I think the Rams are really good. And then after that, I think there's a little bit of a drop off, and it's wide open. So
there's on Twitter, there's a lot of Kirk Cousins hate, right? But when you look at, I mean, there's a ton. But when you look at it, he really, I mean, he's not Aaron Rodgers level, but you have a quarterback like Kirk Cousins that gives you a chance to win, right?
So I want to ask you this: would you have ever said Matthew Stafford could win a Super Bowl before last year?
Oh, something I should have told you beforehand. I am a huge Matt Stafford fan, and I
agree. Yes. I've loved Matthew
whole
Stafford.
Career. So yes, I have. I said it for years.
I knew he was going. I thought he was going to be the MVP.
I'm the wrong person to ask about that. I'm very biased against Matt Stafford.
Okay, but if you look at Cousins and Stafford, I think they're very similar, which is why. How are they not similar?
Please explain.
Because talent.
So you don't think that they're very that they're similar in that they're both very accurate. They both have big arms. They both have been on not very good teams and have worse records, but they're more talented than those. You don't think that that's right?
Yeah, but Matt Stafford knows when to line up behind the center.
Oh God, here we go.
I think Matthew Stafford is more gifted.
I think that might be true. That might be true because he is. I mean, he was the number one pick. He's great. But if you put them up against each other, I think they're really similar. I think that they're both in that not elite group, right?
Before we got Patricia, we used to kind of handle the Vikings with Stafford.
Y'all never. So first of all, go back in the stats. You never handled the Vikings. You might have beat them.
We used to beat y'all.
You might have beat. Okay, we lose a few games every now and then. I don't remember the last time y'all swept us. That's all I'm saying.
They used to sweep y'all all the time.
I'm about to Google that.
Now I need to know.
We stopped beating the people in our division when we got Patricia.
Patricia was bad.
That was a horrible hire.
We wasn't beating nobody no more. But
yeah, that was bad.
Kind of except for that 1 year. That 1 year before Calvin retired. We beat y'all twice a year.
I'm not gonna argue because I think you're wrong.
I'm right.
I'm just saying I don't remember that y'all owned us. I think a little stretch.
As a Packers fan, I was more scared of playing the Lions than I was the Vikings for a very long time.
Oh, there was some years in there where we were bad.
Calvin Johnson
was a beast. I loved him. Yeah. I loved him.
Yeah, if they could have put
after 2000, what year was that when we finally was good with Stafford and when we beat the Vikings for like the first time in like 17 years at the Metrodome? Like after that, it was over. We just beat y'all out.
Okay.
It's so interesting how a narrative can change, right? A quarterback that actually wins, because when you look at everything kind of with Stafford, I mean he had those game-winning drives. I mean, he was clutch, right? But he was always coming from behind, and maybe that means something too. If you always have to come from behind, you're not doing something the rest of the game. But when he had that, I mean, they were up big, versus the Bucks, and they let him come back. I mean, did he almost like need that play and that drive versus the Bucks to just kind of come up clutch to kind of change that narrative going into the Super Bowl? I mean, and now he won the Super Bowl, so he kind of changed the narrative about himself. If he had failed, I mean, he might still be, in my opinion, as well, like on Kirk Cousins level.
What?
He was never on Kirk Cousins level. There's Kirk Cousins.
You're right. He's not on Kirk Cousins level.
Kirk Cousins, Matt Stafford, easily.
And if you look at that game against the Bucks when they came back, Matthew Stafford had absolutely nothing to do with that. The center hiked the ball over his head. The running back fumbled. Cooper Kupp fumbled. That's how they got back in the game. Matthew Stafford had, matter of fact, Matthew Stafford, the reason why they won, when they put the ball back in his hands, he went down the field. That was all everybody else. It was like they was in Tom Brady's movie. When people get in Tom Brady movie and then Tom Brady comes back and saves the day like he did against the Falcons in the Super Bowl. Like everybody plays is a part in Tom Brady's movie. And Matthew Stafford said no and went down the field of Cooper Kupp. He had nothing to do with that comeback. Like, so here with them coming back.
Here's I have one last maybe controversial question for Kate here. So if the Rams win the Super Bowl again this year, is Matthew Stafford better than Aaron Rodgers?
No, because wins are not a quarterback stat.
What?
I love them. Yes,
They're not.
Okay. I
Because
agree
just
with
like-
you 100%, which is why I know for a fact Cousins is better than his terrible record, and why I also agree Stafford is really, really, really good, even though he was on a terrible team.
I think Kirk Cousins is worse than his good record.
He doesn't have a good record. That's the thing.
He doesn't have a bad one though.
It's like 500.
That's not bad.
It's not great. That's not
You're right,
great.
it's
That's
not.
my point.
He's
Better
still
than
worse
Jay
than
Cutler.
that.
Kirk Cousins.
You're wrong. You're wrong. So okay.
I think Jay Cutler's a better
Better
quarterback.
throw 333 touchdowns with all them tasty.
What did you say there?
I said Jay Cutler is a better quarterback.
Then
I'm a big Jay Cutler fan too.
So we clearly know who the hugest like Kirk Cousins hater is around here. It's obvious.
I think it's Travis. But the thing about Jay Cutler that I will say till the end of time is if he would have had any kind of offensive line in front of him and they would have given him more time than 0.2 seconds to throw a ball, he probably would have thrown some balls. Like that, you can't have a good quarterback be successful without a successful offensive line, no matter who it is.
Absolutely.
So
for a long time.
the Vikings have a terrible offensive line, have for years. So you're making my point for me. Thank you.
No, he still sucks.
I think
he still sucks.
I know he's terrible.
He's good at if he didn't have those weapons, if you put him on the Lions,
I'm about to get my phone out for
12 touchdowns and 17 interceptions.
I mean, that might be true. That might be true.
Definitely. He got
no, I think he's smarter than that. That's why he has a low interception rate every year. But I will say he doesn't take a lot. I think he needs to trust his receivers more. Back when he had Diggs, Thielen, and now Jefferson, I feel like he sometimes is, and probably I want to say maybe this is Zimmer in his head. I think if he trusted himself and trusts the receivers more, because when he makes them throws to Jefferson, like Jefferson's going up there and making a play. You know what I mean? Like the end of the Packers game when we won, he got hit on a blitz, just throws it up to Jefferson. Jefferson made a play, scores a touchdown. Now what happens? Rodgers throws the one play touchdown back the other way. Cousins comes out and does it again. But he makes the plays, people want to hate on him. It's whatever. I'm just saying, like.
I was also at that game. That was a good game to be at. And he played a good game that game.
Did you just say something good about Kirk Cousins?
I said he had one good game.
One good game.
That's right.
Yeah.
Also,
he beat them Saints.
That's right.
And the Saints tough. All the Saints need is a quarterback.
Always. Yeah.
If they get a quarterback, they could be in it too. They're just missing a quarterback.
Kate, you are obviously an Aaron Rodgers apologist. So are you at all bothered that he's going to avoid, some of the practices, just avoid the mini camps and things like that? I believe he was going to sit some of those out.
I'm not really bothered by it. I mean, I think I would say I'm more bothered this season than I was last season because all of his guys are gone on offense. So you need to get in with who you have and work with those guys. So I think that is disappointing. However, he is in Wisconsin. So he might not be completely sitting things out because he is here right now. So
could be a good thing. I wonder if Kirk Cousins ever will come to Wisconsin.
No one likes to go to Wisconsin. People that live there don't even like it.
I love it here.
I'm a Bears fan. I actually love it. But
it's too cold for me up there, you guys. I'll stay down here in Florida.
Oh, that's right. I forget
you're one of those.
Florida. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, this has been fantastic. I definitely enjoy each one of you kind of guesting and want to give you a chance to kind of shout out some of the things you're doing. Dave, what do you have going on and where can everyone find you?
Yeah, I'm at Viking Dave 18 on Twitter. I do the fantasy football podcast with Josh. It's once upon a Sunday fantasy football podcast. We actually just recorded it earlier tonight. So I mean that's pretty much it. Well, it's obviously the off season, so there's not a lot going on, but you can catch us there.
Awesome. And Seventh Letter, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on Twitter, 7th letter 4, 7th letter podcast on all streaming services. I also have a sports podcast with me and my brother Ripple, LVDT Sports Radio at Twitter. So just check us out, man. We have a lot of fun. Actually, I'm going to finish recording when I'm finished with this. So just check us out. I'm going to follow everybody on Twitter when I'm done with this.
It's definitely a fun one. The Raiders and Lions mix. It's definitely, not a normal one. So love it.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
And Kate, where can everyone find you again?
I have a podcast page. It's Tailkate, TAILKATE. And then my personal page is CO Girl WI World. Podcast, I'm kind of on a little hiatus. Being pregnant drains my whole life. This baby is taking everything from me. So I haven't done any new episodes, but we're gonna roll out some new stuff hopefully soon. It's a sports podcast, so it's nice little mix of everything, current events, sports podcast.
Love it. Well, hopefully, the baby's kind of been like the Packers have been to the division, and drained the division.
Sucking the life. Yeah.
Sucking the life. And hopefully that will change.
He's chilling out now. We're entering the good part of pregnancy. So
and that's a good thing. Well,
yeah.
I definitely appreciate all you coming on, and we'll definitely continue to connect, and look forward to got to finish watching the Bulls beat your Bucks there, Kate. So
I don't even know what the score is, so you might be right.
The Bulls are winning. I'll just let you know that.
By 2?
No, it's
by a lot.
They're winning by 13.
Is it the
Bulls.
third quarter?
Yeah.
It's
the
third
third
quarter.
Okay,
Yes,
I'm not
yes.
worried
Thanks
about
for reminding me about that. Yes.
Yep.
Well, thanks again. And once again, it's another episode of Freezin 4 NFC North Podcast. Like and subscribe, and we try to have episodes every Wednesday at 9:30 Central. Thanks again for joining us, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Have a good night.